Every year around Halloween, we are treated to an outpouring of what could only be described as scare literature, telling us about how the holiday is satanic and evil and should not be celebrated by Christians. These opinions are backed up by some rather unusual and very frightening fantasies masquerading as historical facts. The following videos are not intended to address whether or not Satan exists, nor to show that witches are nice granola-eating vegetarians and tree huggers who wouldn't harm a fly. Nor is it an attack on fundamentalist Christians, but rather a discussion concerning some of the so-called facts offered in some anti-Halloween publications.
The Druids would bash their children's brains out and kick them into a peat bog. Noblemen would willingly give themselves up to the Druidic priest to have their throats slit before they were thrown into fiery pits, known as bonfires today.
The stories of child sacrifice originate from a Christian tract nearly 1,000 years after the Druids had disappeared from the British Isles, and was largely an attempt to ridicule paganism rather than talk about real history. Bonfire does originate from the words for bonfire, as Alex claims in the first movie, but this had to do with plague-infested bodies during the Black Death, rather than some kind of sacrificial rite. And most important, the Druids were Celts, they did not speak English at all. So them inventing the word bonfire is completely impossible. In fact, they were wiped out long before English was spoken in the British Isles. Not only that, but the Druids were gone about 1,700 years before the word bonfire was ever said. According to archaeologist Simon James of the University of Leicester, in the UK, researchers have struggled in the past to link any archaeological evidence to the Druids, let alone signs of human sacrifice or cannibalism. There has always been a suspicion that what the Romans were saying was atrocity propaganda. But some recent finds like the Lindow Man suggest that there were dark and bloody goings-on. Jody Joy, curator of Iron Age collections at the British Museum, who has written a book on the man from the distant past. He said that Lindow Man had suffered 2 blows to the top of the head and another to the back of the head. A cord made from animal sinew was around his neck, which may have been used to garrote him, or could have been a necklace or even a tether. Lindow Man's neck had been broken, and there is also a wound, which may have been caused by a knife, or could have developed in the bog. No one can know for certain. But there is a growing belief amongst some academics that Lindow Man was not sacrificed at all. R.C. Connolly, senior lecturer in physical anthropology at the University of Liverpool, believes Lindow Man was simply clubbed to death, and dismisses the interpretation of ritual features as an archaeological fetish. To Connolly, the sinew about the neck was the remains of a necklace rather than a garrote, and that the neck wound was in fact post-mortem rupturing rather than a slash. Mr. Joy said that Lindow Man may have been a ritual sacrifice, or could have been murdered and robbed, or was an executed prisoner of war. The final judgment is whatever preconceived notion we have. If we believe that this was a Druidic sacrifice, then it is. If we do not believe it to be a sacrifice, then it is not. We will be presenting the evidence and visitors will make up their own minds. The other body that Alex shows are several pictures of Tollund Man, found in Denmark. The problem with this is that there were never any Druids or Celts in Denmark. Contrary to Christian criticism from many sources, Samhain is not a satanic festival, but was a religion of nature. This is an important distinction. Satanic worship is a modern phenomenon. The Celts didn't worship the devil or any god of death on Samhain. The ideas of Satan were barely in existence at the time of the Druids. The Druids worshipped the gods of nature, and though which gods they worshipped varied from wherever the individual Druids came from, none of them were satanic Druids, and did not worship Satan at all. It is important to distinguish between paganism and Satanism. Pagans are people who believe in more than one god. Pagans are quick to emphasize that they do not worship Satan or the devil. The devil is a Judeo-Christian concept, They say, because one has to believe in a single God, to believe in God's opposite. We do not accept the concept of absolute evil, nor do we worship any entity known as Satan or the devil. Celts were pagans, not Satanists. Of course, from a Christian standpoint both are in error. But there is a major difference between pagans who have not heard the gospel practicing a holiday containing ghosts and spirits and Satanists in rebellion against God. There is no original evidence to indicate that Samhain was any more satanic than pagan harvest festivals of other religions, like the Romans or the Greeks. We have no evidence anywhere from tradition, Celtic texts, or archaeology that virgin princesses or anyone else were being offered to the Lord of Death on Halloween. There's zero evidence that the ancient Druids or their congregants ever dressed in costume and engaged in ritualized begging at harvest time. One Christian tract entitled Trick or Treat says, the Druids went from house to house asking for a contribution to their demonic worship celebration. If a person didn't give, their trick was to kill him. The people feared the phrase trick or treat. This charge has been laid at the doorstep of the Celts so often that it's hard to believe there is no evidence for it, but there is absolutely none. Tad Toolja, a folklore expert, writes, an exhaustive Victorian survey of Irish calendar customs says nothing about food collection or a procession of spirits. On the question of masked begging at the Celtic New Year, authorities on the Druids do not say a word. In spite of what you may have read in an encyclopedia or seen on the History Channel, there is absolutely no historical evidence of costume begging among the Druids or as part of the Samhain festival. Anton Levey states what Halloween is in the Satanic Bible, but he never gave a reason for it being a major holiday. Nor did he ever give a method of observing such a major holiday for the Satanist. The Satanist, who follows Levey's teachings, is left without direction. One is left on his own,